Judge of the High Court and the Commissioner.
Thank you, my lord.
Thank you, Commissioners, for that introduction. Before we delve into the interview where the Commissioners will be asking you questions on your application that you have made for the position of a judge of the High Court, please confirm to us your county
My lady, I come from Makueni County.
and your ethnicity.
And the lady, I'm a Kamba.
The first set of questions will be read by Commissioner Macharia.
All right, Your Honor. I'm looking at your CV. Now, you've largely been, of course, a judicial officer.
Yes.
Now, what I've seen is that on average, in almost all the stations, at least you are serving for approximately 4 years, except Nakuru, where you served for approximately 2 years. Could you, just for my understanding, what could have been the reason that you served for approximately 2 years, as opposed to the 4 years you've served in all the other stations?
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. It was just an ordinary transfer that was effective register of the judiciary, and I just obeyed the directions that I was given.
You didn't try to understand why? Why? You know.
I was not given any reason, and to my understanding, there was no issue at
Okay,
all,
all right.
concern. Yes.
Yeah, fair.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to qualities of a good judge, there are
Yes.
many, of course.
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether curiosity is one of those attributes that you'd expect of a good judge or even a judicial officer. Just curiosity. And if you don't think it's a good quality, explain to me why. And if you think it's a good one, also explain why. And also your understanding of what I mean by, the quality of curiosity.
And, Honorable Commissioner, thank you for that question. My understanding of what curiosity is the capacity to be able to inquire if you have someone before you for a particular offense, or any matter if it is civil, what is behind all this, behind the scenes, because there are things that always happen and they don't come to court. So when you start hearing a matter, it's good to listen to that voice that comes from the witness that is before the court, and we just be curious about what could be behind it. And at the same time, out of curiosity, you are looking at the law, and you're also listening to the facts of the case and wondering, is there anything else that could be behind all this apart from that what I'm hearing? Because there are times when you have witnesses in court and you hear a story and there is a vacuum somewhere and you're curious, what could be the matter here? Also, it is good to be curious because of the places where we work and the background and the diversity, so that you can be able to place a particular witness or testimony in a particular context. So I think, yeah, it is good to be curious. Yes.
So, yeah, fair enough. Could you tell us, in your career, which on the face of it appears to be, a good career that you've had, a good stint you've had,
Yes.
how you've applied that attribute of curiosity, and you could give us, specific examples regarding that, in support of that curiosity.
In my career, there's some times that I have been curious, especially in these sexual offenses matters, when a matter is against, a child has been defiled, and the matter was reported to the police, and at the police station, you had the people who recorded statement who were aware of what happened. And then at the time of the hearing, you don't have any witness. then I get curious, what could be the problem here? Something must have happened in between. Why don't we have the witnesses coming to court? Yes. So that is a situation where I have been curious when I'm handling a matter.
All right,
Yes.
fair enough. My final question, how often do you read generally? And by reading, I don't mean reading your files. I don't mean reading the statutes. I'm speaking about going beyond your ordinary scope of duty as a JO in terms of reference materials for your judgments and the like. General reading, how often do you do that? And, if you do actually read, tell me the last 2 books that you've read in the last, and in what span of time.
Yes, I do read. And the last 2 books I read, I've read some on decisions from the Supreme Court. There are 2 books that were published recently, and those ones I know at least I have read. Yes.
General books, I didn't want ones that are specific to law, as it were.
Yes.
Oh, you're too busy. I know, so you get so busy. All right, thank you. Fair enough. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, my lady. Good afternoon, Honorable Usui.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
I have a simple question. You've heard of the phrase dying declaration.
Yes. I have
What is
heard
it?
about it. A dying declaration is a statement that is made by a person who is at his deathbed, and it regards an offense that has been committed, and it tends to incriminate a person.
A statement about any offense?
Especially in murder cases.
Offense committed against who?
Against the person who is dying.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we have a general rule in evidence.
Yes.
That hearsay evidence is not admissible. So that if someone has made a statement and the statement is being reported in court,
yes,
that is not admissible. Now, in a dying declaration, this person is dead, isn't it?
Yes.
But, okay, maybe I should ask you, is that statement admissible in law? And if so, why?
It is admissible to some extent, and especially where it is corroborated by other evidence that is surrounding the circumstances of the death.
If there's no corroboration, is it admissible?
The court would treat it with a lot of caution. It would not be admissible.
Okay, let me correct something. You said, yes. I'm asking about admissibility. Yes. I'm not asking about the weight of evidence, the weight you'll attach to that evidence, but yes, admissibility.
It is admissible.
It is admissible.
Yes.
So why is it admissible, yet you cannot call this person as a witness to give the first-hand information?
It is admissible, especially given the circumstances of the offense, and especially if you have any corroborating evidence on the circumstances surrounding the offense.
That rule on hearsay, is it a hard and fast rule? Is it a general rule?
It's a general rule.
Yes.
Yes.
So a general rule sometimes has exceptions.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, my lady.
Thank you. And continuing on that line of questions,
yes,
if you are successful in your bid to become a judge of the High Court, tell us 5 jurisdictions that will be new to you in the High Court.
My lady, some of the new jurisdictions, if I'm appointed at the supervisory jurisdiction, of matters that are handled by the lower courts and any tribunal or any quasi tribunal that is exercising a judicial jurisdiction. Then I will also have jurisdiction to determine or on the enforcement of the Bill of Rights, also on the interpretation of the Constitution. I will also have appellate jurisdiction, and I'll also have a jurisdiction have tried.
Those are three. Now I'll take you to one of them, which is judicial review,
Yes.
which traditionally used to be governed under the common law.
Yes.
So what are the aspects of judicial review that you are aware of? The nature of petitions or applications that will be brought to you under judicial review.
My lady, thank you for that question. There are the petitions that are seeking orders for mandamus or for certiorari or orders for prohibition.
Yes.
Yes.
And under the Constitution 2010, there is a marked departure from the traditional common law orders. What is the departure?
The departure is anchored on Article 47 on a fair administrative action. And that departure, all their petitions did not be made to the High Court, but the ones that relate to labor and environment and land matters, they now go to those courts. There is also expansion of the persons who can make those petitions to the High Court, and it doesn't have to be the person who is affected by an act or parliament, but any other person who has an interest in the matter.
When you say that applications can be made to other courts, Environment and Land Court and ERLC,
Yes.
what do you mean? These are courts of equal status with the High Court.
I mean the matters that arise or related to those jurisdictions. So that expansion has been there.
Okay.
Yes.
Justice Majanja.
Good morning. Good
morning.
afternoon, sorry.
Good afternoon. Madam.
I've looked at your sample writings. I admit you write well. You have good analysis of facts. I just want to discuss with you one decision. It's about the burial dispute.
Yes.
There's a place you talked about customary law.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It said customary law is a question of fact. Is that true or false?
It is true.
It's a question of fact.
Yes.
So if it's a question of fact, how do you prove customary law?
You prove customary law by looking at the facts of the case, and also you can hear an expert witness on that.
Expert witness?
Yes.
Any other?
I only know of those two.
You can refer to, what is that book called? Restatements of African Law. What is it called? You can refer to books written by other people.
Yes, and precedents.
Okay. Just finally, it has also been said that the Constitution, this 2010 Constitution, is transformative. Give me 2 ways in which it is a transformative Constitution.
It's transformative because it gives authority to state organs, and it defines the separation of powers, and each state organ has its defined responsibilities. It also defines the Bill of Rights and very elaborately.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Your Honor, I note that you served at the Kituo cha Sheria for about 4 years.
Yes.
What do you call the legal services offered by Kituo cha Sheria? What is it commonly known as?
They are pro bono services.
What is the full term of? Where does it get from the name pro bono? Complete the normal usage of pro bono in books. Pro bono is a short, but what is the full statement for pro bono?
It offers free advice and services.
Okay, and it's a Latin word. It's called pro bono publico.
Okay.
Pro bono publico, which is, do you know the meaning of pro bono publico?
Services to the public.
Okay, for the public good.
Yes.
Yes. Who are your main clients?
Our main clients were just the ordinary citizen. Yes.
What was the criteria for taking up their cases? The criteria.
It was based on poverty and vulnerability. Yes.
Which were the prevalent cases brought to you, common cases brought to you at Kituo? And I must commend you for that volunteering work you did.
Yes. So most of them were on employment. Yes.
Any other?
No.
Do you have any child issues, child cases?
Yes, also
Children's
on-
cases?
Yes, they used to be there on maintenance. Yes.
Okay. Your source of funding, Kituo cha Sheria, what was your main source of funding?
The non-government organizations. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And any development partners? And NGO, okay, you're saying from NGOs. Now, I note that you did an election petition at the coast. Is it Kwale?
Yes.
Okay. What was your experience? That is in 2013.
It was, my lord, it was the first election petition that I did. And then there was a lot of uncertainty on how to go about it. But it went on smoothly. What I only learned that time is that people will never get satisfied. You go to the ballot boxes, you're counting, and everybody is watching when you're counting, and after that, they're still objecting. They're saying they're not satisfied. But otherwise, it was a good experience and a learning experience.
Okay. Did you determine your judgment within the given time?
Yes.
Okay.
And I received a commendation for that from the Honorable the Chief Justice Emeritus.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that you say that. In terms of community service, I note that you are a member of Arabuko Sokeke Forest.
Yes, my lord.
Is it at the coast?
Yes, it is at the coast.
Okay. What is the? Can you give me the name of one of the animals endangered in that forest?
You have the bastard bird. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of wildlife, do you have any wildlife cases at the moment? You're in Malindi, yeah?
I'm in Malindi, my lord.
Okay. What is the most common case in the last 2 years since 2021 when you went there?
It's possession of wildlife trophy. Yes.
Land. What about land? Land disputes.
Yes, land disputes are there. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, my lord.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
What formula is available in determining distribution of matrimonial property in Kenya? Is there a formula?
Yes, there is a formula, Honorable Commissioner, and the formula is contribution of each party.
What is the formula in terms of ratio?
The ratio to begin with would be 50-50, and then from there, then the court will determine what is the contribution of each party.
So you start with 50 and then
Yes. Depending.
how was this 50? How did you arrive at the 50?
The 50 is what is guaranteed at in the Constitution, but it's only subject to each party proving its contribution to the matrimonial.
So what provision of the Constitution gives it 50? Gives a percentage at 50?
This 50 comes from the equal rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution. Yes.
What is the difference between equity and equality?
Equity is about fairness, equality is a sharing equal.
Mhm.
Yes.
Are you sure the Constitution says 50-50?
It doesn't say, it just says equal rights. So the presumption is that each party has contributed. Yes.
There is a phrase again within the division of matrimonial property sphere that equality is equity. What is your understanding of that phrase?
My understanding, Honorable Commissioner, is equality is about fairness.
Okay. Are you aware
Yes.
of any Supreme Court decision that has addressed the issue of equality and equity with regards to the division of matrimonial property?
Yes, Honorable Commissioner, I know.
Yes. Could you maybe tell us the ratio? You don't have to cite the case detailing the details, but yes.
Honorable Commissioner, in the case that I know, the rules of equity and fairness apply in distribution of matrimonial property.
Okay.
Yes.
My last question, what is the difference between marriage by presumption and interdependent relationship?
A marriage is presumed where parties have cohabited for a lengthy period of time and they are lived in a manner that suggests or can be interpreted to mean that they are living as a man and wife. Yes.
So you've spoken about the actual cohabitation, the period, and what else?
It is intended, if they intended to each contribute to the property, and also if it is registered in the name of one party, then you can presume that there was an existing trust.
Okay.
Where one party was holding the property in trust.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Is it Honorable Usui or is it Honorable Katiwa? Which is which?
My lady, my middle name is Katiwa, my surname is Usui.
So it's, how do they refer to?
Honorable Usui, my lady.
All right. Now, Honorable Usui, please tell us about your work ethics.
I'm competent, my lady. I'm very hardworking. I have very high.
Please speak up. I want you to get this job. So
my
don't
lady.
do a disservice to yourself.
Thank you, my lady. My lady, I'm competent. I have very high standards of integrity. I have fully committed to my job.
How does your day look like on average? What time do you start your day and when do you end your day in terms of your work?
My lady, my day starts early at 7 o'clock. I'm in the office. Then I will look at the work that is coming up that day. I'll do administration work. And then at 9 o'clock, I'll then go to court and hear matters up to 1 o'clock. I'll take a break. I'll see whether there is any administration work that has also come up. I will deal with that. If I have matters that are pending for the afternoon, I'll also go back to court. Mainly there'll be judgments and rulings. And if there is anything administrative that is coming up also, I'll handle it at that time. My lady, most times I'm in the court up to past 6 p.m. every day.
All right.
Yes.
Now, we have a report
Yes.
that shows your work performance, and it seems to agree with what you're telling us. Did you get a copy of the report from Depot?
My lady, I got it.
All right. And it does indicate that between the period 1st of July 2023 and 31st of December 2023, the number of cases that you handled is 294 cases. and that in terms of the performance, this is actually 18% out of the expected 13%, and that your overall performance in comparison to average court performance is 143%. So this is very good performance.
Thank you, Madam.
I think it demonstrates what you're telling us, that you're a very hardworking officer. But the only concern that seems to be there is in terms of the court productivity, that the court has a productivity of 206 compared to the national figure of 299. What is the explanation for this, Honorable Sui? You're the chief magistrate, isn't
Yes,
it?
I am.
How many magistrates work under you?
We are 8 of us
All right.
and 1 Kathy.
So what's not happening?
When I looked at that, my lady, I talked to the department of performance, and when they told me that they take into consideration all the officers were in that court and also the new ones. And last year we had 3 of them who joined in July. So this apportionment includes them, and yet they had only few months for work within that year. So that could explain the reason. So that if they had done it between the 5 of us who were there, it should have been higher.
All right.
Yes.
Shouldn't there then be a provision to indicate that there are new officers who joined you midway, and hence they should really give us the correct tabulation?
My lady, that would be my recommendation.
All right.
Yes.
Or could it also be suggestive that you're a chief magistrate and you do a lot of work, but you do not supervise the persons who are under you to also ensure that they are working as well as you're working?
My lady, I know all the magistrates who work with me and the honorable magistrates, all of them are very hardworking.
All right.
Yes.
So thank you very much for this good work, and keep it up, and all the best.
Thank you, my lady.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have 1 or 2 questions. What strategies do you use to remain impartial while presiding over a case?
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. First, I make sure that all the matters are heard in open court, unless where it is extremely necessary, and maybe a hearing is in camera is called for. And I also make sure that my judgments are pronounced in open court, my lady. Also make sure that my social life doesn't conflict with what is expected of me under the judicial code of conduct. I also do not encourage parties or advocates to come before me when I'm just alone. I will also ensure that there is a third party with me. Yes.
What will you do as a judge if you realize that you have rendered or given a wrong verdict?
And then, Honorable Commissioner, I think then that matter now will be for appeal. Yes.
Will you talk to the litigant to appeal, or what will you do?
Because when I have given it, I may not at that point realize that it's a wrong verdict, unless then that is my attention is drawn to that, maybe by way of review, or maybe when they are appealing, but I would leave it to them to decide. Yes.
Well, thank you, Chair. Now, you've been a chief magistrate, which means you are leading the station.
Yes, Honorable Commissioner.
Now, would you tell me some of the key achievements that can be attributed to your leadership in any of the stations you've led? Or it's only one station? You've been a chief magistrate, head of station in different places?
Honorable Commissioner, I was a head of station also in Kwale. At
Yes.
that time, I was a senior resident magistrate. Yes.
Okay. You can give us any 2 or 3 instances in which you've used your leadership has been able to achieve. 3 achievements or 2 specifically attributable to your style of leadership.
My lady, I have strength in a stakeholder engagement. And one of the key achievements when I was in Kwale, I was able to have dialogue with the county government, and they allocated us land. They allocated judiciary land through my effort, where the High Court now stands in Kwale. Also, as a leader, I have been able in Malindi also to scoop an award for also stakeholder engagement. And as a leader, I have also brought the stakeholders together, and we have improved the performance, especially on clearance of backlog, as it is evident. As a leader also, when I was in Kwale, Honorable Commissioner, I was able to conduct a very successful judicial matches day as directed by the Honorable the Chief Justice.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Usui, how long have you been in Malindi Station?
Honorable Commissioner, I have been in Malindi since October 2021.
Since October 2021.
Yes.
So by the time you went to that station, according to the last report I have for corruption prevalence, corruption was seen to be really high at 8.11 out of the all magistrate courts average of 7.03.
Yes, Commissioner.
What are some of the drivers for corruption in that station, and what have you been able to do so that during the next survey, this is not repeated?
My lady, what I have discovered since I went to Malindi is that people lack information on the court procedures, especially, and that is why we have other people taking advantage of that, especially in the area of brokerage. And one of the areas that we have identified is the issue of bond and the approval of bond terms. When people come to court, the court grants bond. The parties may really not understand what it is all about. Also, the process of the approval of bond, they may not understand, and we have realized that people take advantage of that. So one of the steps that we have taken is to, in our opening remarks, when we enter court or at any time, especially the court that is taking place, is to announce and make it clear, and to announce to the litigants who are there to be very careful. They listen to the terms of the bond, and we also make them aware that there are people who could be sitting out there waiting for them to mislead them. Also, the registries, we put measures in place to ensure that anyone who doesn't have an interest in the matter does not go to the registry, and they started demanding for files. We've also had a very robust customer care desk where we have information that is relayed to persons who come to court and they are not aware of the court procedures. We've also set up a committee that is comprised of judicial officers and also members of staff, where we have been able to identify where the loopholes are.
You're confident that this is working on the fight against corruption?
I am sure
station?
that this time it will be low.
Okay.
Yes.
My final question to you, you said that you're in the office as early as 7 a.m.
Yes.
and sometimes leave as late as 6 p.m.
Yes, Honorable Commissioner.
So what does this tell us about your time management, and how do you protect yourself from burnout?
My lady, it tells you that I'm really immersed in my work, and it also tells you that I have very little time also for my personal issues, which I think is actually part of this job. But before 7, I wake up in the morning at 6. I have at least time to have a walk, a quiet walk. And also then in the evening, mostly that is a small time. You will not just interact anyhow. So maybe you do 1 or 2 things about the files, but then the weekend is there, I now take advantage of that.
Do you think that is a healthy way to strike work-life balance?
For me, I have found so long as I utilize my weekends for my other personal issues, and I think it works. I found that it works.
You take advantage of your annual leave days?
Yes, I also do, but most times I've also carried files for judgments.
Okay, you
But
need
it's
to work
part of-
on
it's part of the
need to
job.
work on that, because we want to ensure that we have a healthy workforce. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioners. Finally, can you tell us how Marindi is embracing the multi-door approach to access to justice?
Thank you for that question, my lady. My lady, we already have the mediation. We have already a
The
mediation.
court annexed
Yes,
mediation.
the court annexed mediation.
How many cases are going there?
We have many going there because they are usually screened at the registry at the time of the pre-trial. So we could have as many, I think now they're about 30.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Although the success is not very high, and that has really been worrying us very much. So
What is the success rate?
I would say it's about 10%.
10%.
Yes.
Yes. What can you do to improve it at the end of station?
And my lady, these are issues that have really concerned us, especially in the CUC. And we have already put measures, and we have set a subcommittee that will now pursue that area, especially on sensitization. And we have agreed that that committee will be in charge of, even within the court, talking to members of the public, especially when they are waiting for the gates to be opened, and just tell them those options and the importance of mediation and how it is important to us as judiciary. And we also have plans of having a service week where we have matters screened. Actually, that is something we have done before. We have all matters screened to several magistrates. They're screened and they're sent to the mediation registry. Yes, and we are hoping that, yes, my lady.
Which other multi-door approach?
Multi-door approach, my lady. Now the AJS is in the process, and I have already trained my CUC. We already have members who have already been identified according to the policy, and they have already had the initial training. And there is also another training that is coming up, and very soon it is going to be very active. My lady.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
How is your small claims court?
The small claims court, my lady, started very well. We had very many matters that were filed. Immediately it was opened. But because of the High Court judgment, then it has actually just slumped completely.
Which is the High Court judgment?
The one by Justice Kizito on the matters that should be filed in the small claims court. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, commissioners, and thank you very much, Honorable Usui, for this very engaging interaction this afternoon. I think this brings us to the end of the interview. We wish you well. But before we release you, if you have any question, the commissioners will be able to answer it.
Thank you, my lady. I don't have a question, but I just want to thank the commission for enlisting me for this interview, and thank you so much for the interactive session. I have jolted my mind a bit, a lot, actually a lot. Yes, and I have learned. Thank you so much, and I
Okay.
wish you all the well. I wish you well as you sit to deliberate.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. We also wish you well and send you with our greetings to the people you serve in Marindi.
Yes,
and also to the members of staff in the judiciary.
Thank
We
you
will
so
get
much,
in
my lady.
touch with you when we complete the process.
Thank you, my lady.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
Yes, have a nice afternoon.